On a strange forest path, there was a car that had overturned in an accident. The driver, a man, was hanging upside down, injured, but he wasn't worried about his own safety. He was looking for his daughter Chica. At that moment, a person walked up to the car window. The man's heart, which had been hanging, finally settled. Thank goodness, he was saved. We saw the savior's back. It was a bear wearing a suit. Here was a village far from the world. The injured father and daughter were rescued here. The man slowly opened his eyes. He looked around in confusion. He found himself lying in a strange wooden house. Peace surrounded him. The throbbing pain instantly reminded him of the accident. He suddenly remembered that his daughter, Chica, was not by his side. His anxiety caused him to fall out of bed. He kept calling out his daughter's name. The door was gently pushed open at that moment. The man saw that the person who came in was actually a person with a pig's head. The person's face was full of confusion. The pig-headed person politely bowed and greeted him. He thought to himself, maybe this is just someone wearing a costume. The pig-headed person asked about the man's condition with concern. The man said he was fine, but the package couldn't find his daughter. The pig-headed man said not to worry. His daughter is now safe. Yesterday the man's car had an accident. It was their companions who happened to find them and placed the father and daughter in the village. The man's head was injured, but his daughter only suffered minor injuries. The man was relieved to hear that his daughter was okay and said he wanted to see his daughter now. The pig-headed man said, no problem. A sumptuous feast was prepared in the grand hall. His daughter had been waiting there for some time. He would take the man to her now. The man followed the pig-headed man down the long hallway. The size of the mansion amazed him. It seemed to have double the decoration. It was quite an ancient structure. The hallway was lined with paintings of animals. What a subtle taste he had. The man asked, why are you wearing a pig costume? Is this some kind of costume-themed hotel? The pig-headed man chuckled after hearing the man's words. Costume? You're a funny guy. If it's really a costume, can I please you? All right then. He was just startled at first. The pigman put his hand on the door, bracing the man for what was to come, because what he would see next would blow his mind. The pigman pushed open the door. The man looked inside. He saw a long table set with delicious food in the very center of the dining room. On either side of the table sat various animals, all wearing formal attire. Sitting at the head of the table was a deer, exuding an air of gentlemanly sophistication. The man was quite puzzled. Do they all have to wear costumes to eat here? That's really dedicated. A little voice called out to his father. The man was surprised to discover that his daughter was truly beautiful. His daughter said that her father had been sleeping all the time, so he had been playing with the animals. The animals were also speaking in a very confusing way at this time. This fire looks really good to use. He's in his early 30s. He looks very healthy. He's just a little too thin. He also smoked. If he's physically all right, it's fine. That's right, Bance. I don't know if it will match my intention. The man thanked the animals profusely, though they looked strange. After all, they were his daughter's saviors. Suddenly, a pair of furry, large hands grasped his shoulders from behind. The man saw. This person was wearing a wild boar suit. You both smell alike. You can tell your father and daughter by the scent. But there's a slight difference. The child is more succulent, and you have a hint of bitterness. Just as the man was becoming intensely uncomfortable, the sound of a goblet being struck interrupted the boar. The stag-headed man who sat at the head of the table spoke. I said, be respectful to me. He's our guest. Ahaha, I'm so sorry. Please have a seat, guest. Our dining time has begun. As the man had been hungry for a long time, the deerman told the man to slow down, not to rush. There is plenty of food. This kind of meat is unique to this village. The innocent daughter was also very happy. She said she had never tasted such delicious meat before. The man said, perhaps because he was too hungry. Everything he ate tasted good. The other animals marveled at how much the man could eat, proved that he was very healthy. Watching him eat voraciously, the animals were truly happy from the bottom of their hearts. The man, full and satisfied, expressed his gratitude to the animals. The animals replied, you're welcome. Please eat your fill. Eat more and get fat. The man then said he wanted to leave and take his daughter to the hospital for a checkup. As soon as he finished speaking, The deer-headed man slammed his fork on the table. The other animals stared intently at the man. The air instantly fell silent. The man was startled. What was going on? Did I say something I shouldn't have? The deer-headed man stood up and said, taking his daughter to the doctor was certainly necessary. But meeting us was also a kind of fate. Why don't you take a tour of our farm before you leave? The man seemed a little hesitant, but his daughter, Chica, insisted on visiting the farm. After all, this kind of opportunity would be rare once they returned to the city. The deer-headed man said with deep meaning, you will definitely have a lot of fun. Then the parents followed the piglet down the corridor towards the farm. The brave man asked if he could make a phone call. He wanted to call a taxi. The piglet replied that there was no signal in the area, let alone making a phone call. Chica found the piglet adorable. She chased after him asking how old he was this year. The piglet said he didn't know. He might be 5 years old this year. They walked and talked, and soon they reached the end of the hallway. When the pig-headed people opened the door, the father and daughter were immediately drenched in cold sweat at what they saw. They saw a livestock pen on the farm. The pen was fully equipped with ventilation and food supply systems. But inside the pen were a group of humans, all in rags. Their eyes were vacant, as if they had lost their sanity and emotions. They shouted madly, their voices hoarse. The little pig said, don't yell, I know you're hungry. They'll feed you right away. The switch was pressed. Sour and foul-smelling food sprayed from the tube above the trough. The humans in the pen scrambled for the stinking slop. What the heck is that? The pig said calmly. Our food supply. This farm raises over 100 humans. They are divided into different classes based on age, gender, and status. This is the lowest of the pens. Goodness, they made a mess while eating. It's still adorable if you look closely. The humans here can't speak. Number 1, my favorite. Are you kidding me? Raising humans? Don't worry. Your conversation will be assigned to a higher circle. We've already checked you over. All you need to do is quit smoking for a while. You're the finest ingredient around. Wait, is this part of the hotel's entertainment? Isn't it a bit scary? Humph. Everyone has the same reaction at first. But don't worry. We'll give you the most nutritious feed. It's supposed to be safe and delicious to eat, isn't it? Is that so strange? Sigh, what a waste. How can you spit out the meat of the same kind? They are all monsters in animal skins. They keep humans in pens and raise them. They treat us like livestock. The reason they keep us here is the same. It's all to eat us. Chica cried in regret. She said that if she hadn't been playing around, she wouldn't have come to the farm. The man comforted his daughter by stroking her head. He wouldn't be afraid, because he had already made a promise with his deceased wife. You must protect your daughter well. It's time to think about how to save ourselves. At this time, in the empty space outside the village, the little pig is reporting his work to the deer-headed man who is wiping his hunting rifle. He said he had locked the father and daughter in the best shed. He also deliberately didn't lock the door. The deer-headed man first thanked the little pig for his hard work. Then he spread his hands and said, everyone, Eve kept you waiting. Hunting time has arrived. Let's all enjoy ourselves today. As soon as the words left his mouth, the door was filled with animals wearing formal attire. They all looked like high society animals. Each one holding a hunting rifle, they all rushed out. On the other side, the man, cradling his daughter, escaped from the prison. He ran frantically toward the road, guided by memory. How he wished he could grow 2 more legs. I can call for help as long as I get back on the road. Once I get back, I'm gonna tell everyone about this village. Suddenly, he heard someone calling out to him from behind. The man turned around to see. The person calling to him was a normal human being. Seeing another living person gave him hope. When he looked up again, he saw this person was wearing a collar around their neck. Then he barked as he opened his mouth and lunged at him. Source. The man on fire struggled to stay upright, but he couldn't escape its control. Just then, a gnoll holding a gun took aim. Bang, a shot rang out. The collared man fell to the ground. The man saw that the gnoll was holding 3 other people by the leash. Oh, he missed. The man, lucky to be alive, continued to flee. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his foot and fell to the ground. His left leg was caught in a preset trap. A critical moment. The man told his daughter to keep running along the creek. They could find people downstream. His daughter cried and refused to leave. She didn't want to leave her father behind. But the man was desperate. He shouted frantically, "Go, please." About 10 minutes later, the wild boar reached the riverbank. It looked at the trap lying on the ground and became furious, because it could no longer smell the child. What should I do? Should I cross the river and take a look? Forget it, the water is too cold. Maybe I should go back and search with everyone else? Yes, that's it. Tooth monster. Haha, you fell for it. The smell of blood is intoxicating. Was he deliberately using himself as bait to save his child? It's truly moving. I want to eat him raw. Then the wild boar bit the man's ear. He shook his head and tore it off. He chewed it while praising how delicious the ear was. This rare delicacy drove him to crush the man's skull. A gunshot suddenly rang out, hitting the wild boar's arm. The man also fell to the ground. It was the deer-headed man, the leader, who had fired the shot. He pressed the barrel of his gun against the boar's head. He snarled, his voice filled with rage. How could you be so cruel? Who gave you permission to mistreat humans? Who agreed to let you eat humans alive? Haven't I emphasized this again and again? You must respect life. Remember this, from the very beginning, life is precious. We must never forget respect and gratitude. We must treat our ingredients with gratitude. I forgot about you. You've lost so much blood. Here, take my handkerchief. Use this to stop the bleeding. Despair had driven the man into a Stockholm Syndrome state. He saw the staghead man as his last hope for survival. He even begged him to save his daughter. The staghead man replied, "Don't worry," he explained. "Your daughter, Jean, has also been captured." The farm's kitchen was bustling with activity, preparing the delicious feast for the evening. The neck meat should be steamed until half-cooked for the best taste. The innards were chopped and made into sausages. The bones and fat were also boiled into soup. They arranged the meat from different parts of the animal on the dining table. All the high-class animals enjoyed a delicious feast with grateful hearts. 10 years later, 2 animals were hauling a wooden cart outside the farm. The pig was pulling in front, and the mountain cat was pushing from behind. They were enjoying the fragrant wild grass and the warm sunshine. The mountain cats just wanted to finish their work and get paid. They were transporting a whole truckload of humans. Mountain cats detested the decadent whims of the elite. Hunting humans was a favorite pastime for those upper-class animals. The lower animals, were only there to work for them. Just then, the mountain cat saw a hand reaching out of the cage. He tried to push the hand back in, but it was held onto him with a death grip. The mountain cat saw it was a desperate girl begging for help from herself. Seeing Anne's eyes, the mountain cat was momentarily stunned in place. But the next second, the girl's hand was struck back by a stick. Smoke rose in the distance. They opened the cage door. The desire to survive caused the fire creatures inside to rush towards the hunting grounds. And waiting for them was a cruel hunt and pursuit. The hunt was over. The mountain lion and the weasel had to clean up the prey. It was a bit tiring today. They had made a date to go to a restaurant after work. During the pre-dinner drinks, the weasel noticed that the mountain lion was a little strange lately, because he always had a long face. Did he have a broken heart? What was bothering him? Well, drink until we're drunk tonight, and forget everything. The waiter brought a plate of fine drumsticks. The hungry guan began to devour them. But the mountain cat looked at the drumsticks and couldn't bring himself to take a bite. He had been feeling strange lately. He started to feel a strong aversion to eating humans. Under Guan's insistent demands, the mountain cat reluctantly ate a small piece. But this was followed by vomiting into the bird bucket. He was puzzled himself. It was just ordinary meat, wasn't it? What's wrong with me? 8 Turns Day is the day when the animal children from the countryside visit the farm. These little guys stare at the humans in the cages and roar. The frightened humans cower in the corner, afraid to turn around. The deer-headed man guides the children on the correct way to visit the farm. That is, don't scare them. Just stay quiet and the humans will turn around. Then, he asks the mountain cat to take the children to visit the premium ingredients shed. The mountain cat introduces, "This is the largest shed. The people inside are incredibly good eaters, so they're quite fat. They will all be made into hamburgers and sausages." One of the children was startled by the people in the other cages. The mountain lion quickly pulled the child aside. A few short words of comfort calmed the child down. At the same time, it also said, These humans sometimes bite us. It wouldn't be good if they bite your ears. Huh? Ears? The staghead man then showered the mountain lion with praise. He then demonstrated the anatomy lesson to the children. The moment the experimental subject was placed on the table, the mountain lion's head felt as if it had been struck by a violent blow. Countless memories surged into his brain like a frantic tide. Seemed to remember this desperate man, this dining table, this farm, these barns, and my daughter, and me. I remember, I used to be human, then I was eaten by these monsters. Recap. A father and daughter wandered into a village full of monsters disguised as animals. Humans are livestock, bred for consumption by this group of animal humans. This day, the farm worker mountain cat, watching the deer leader perform a live dissection, suddenly had his memories awakened. He remembered that he, a human, was killed and eaten by this group of animal humans. As mountain cat, he had lived here for over a decade, but none of them had ever seen his daughter. It was likely she had already become their meal. Thinking about this, the angry mountain cat's blood rushed to his head. It even made him bleed from his nose and eyes. He suddenly jumped up, grabbed a broom and smashed it against the deer's head. Just then, a little boy appeared in front of him. He said that he really liked his brother, the mountain cat. He wanted to give the meat in his hand to his brother to eat. The bear child's words brought the mountain cat back to reality. He gradually let go of the broom. The bear child said to eat quickly. This is the meat that the deer leader just cut off. It's very fresh. Even if you eat it raw, it's delicious. At this point, the mountain cat had completely put down the broom. He needed to figure out what was happening to him. The farm tour is over. The children said goodbye to the mountain cat. The leader of the stags praised the mountain cat for a good job this time. He would bring his children next time when he had the chance. He then left through the corridor. But he didn't go far. He looked back at the mountain cat. The square pupils made the mountain cat sweat profusely. After a few seconds, he turned and continued to leave. It was raining heavily outside that night. The stew of human ribs was just ready to be served. Suddenly, he heard someone knocking on the door outside. Opening the door, he saw it was his brother, the mountain cat. What's up, brother? What happened to you? You're soaked. It's late at night. Have you eaten, sir? The mountain cat grabbed Guan's shoulder. He excitedly asked him if he still had memories of being human. Then, the mountain cat told Guan everything that had happened to him in detail. Guan first gave the mountain cat a towel to wipe his fur. Then they brought him a cup of hot tea. You mean you used to be human? You're remembering those memories now, right? You probably don't believe it, do you? But I remember clearly I was like being killed. I'm telling you, brother, let's be honest. This idea of yours is pretty good. It actually moved me a little. Huh? You mean all that stuff just now was made up by me? Ha ha ha. I can't help but laugh. Tell me quickly, what are you going to write next? Damn it. You don't believe me at all? Do you want to play together with V? Even if I believe you, what difference does it make? Humans are nothing but meat to us. We are children of the gods. How could we be human? You must have been hallucinating from exhaustion lately. Just wait, I'll cook some human meat for you. You've eaten your fill and drank your fill, so just sleep tonight. The mountain cat didn't finish his words before he walked out of the door. Since Hua couldn't understand him, then no other animal in this village would understand him either. He thought as he walked, could it be that only I recovered my memories? Why did only I recover my memories? What about Chica? Did she also become an animal like me? But in the end, I was a human, wasn't I? If that's the case, how did I become this animal? I just can't figure it out. So, am I a human or an animal now? The lynx looked at its own face in the puddle. Suddenly, it heard a slapping sound from beside it. Looking up, it saw a goat was actually bullying a human female. After a strenuous workout, the goat's body trembled. The sight was too repulsive. The bobcat immediately ran away from the scene. It had not run far when it saw its neighbor, the lesser panda. The lesser panda was grilling meat, and on the grill was a charred human. The bobcat quickly ran away, struggling to keep from vomiting. This was just another ordinary event in this village. For the bobcat at this moment, it was utter madness. Suddenly he saw a man with a collar around his neck was calling out repeatedly. A pair of hands held onto the man, and the owner of those hands was a dog. The bobcat ran away again. He no longer wanted to stay in this village. He had had enough. Now all he wanted was to see Chica again. But then he thought, could Chica have turned into an animal like me? Maybe she just hasn't recovered her memories yet. Or maybe she's gone forever. Damn it. Why am I the only one? Why am I here? What kind of creatures are those monsters? Where is this place? Chica, if I lose you, the meaning of living would be gone. Just then, a butterfly caught the mountain lion's eye. It also reminded him of the days he spent with Chica on outdoor picnics. The father and daughter saw a butterfly being preyed upon by a spider. Chica cried out of heartache. The man gently told his daughter, "This is the law of nature. The weak will be devoured by the strong." Chica innocently asked, "I'm pretty weak too. Could I be eaten by something else?" The man told Chica that wouldn't happen. If there were any bad guys who wanted to eat Chica, he would eliminate them all. Eliminate them all. Eliminate them all. The bobcat slowly approached the mountain goat. The mountain goat was currently smoking a cigarette, and extinguished the cigarette on the body of the human being who had been tortured to death. Then he punched out in a frenzy. The bobcat, which was both animal and human, watched its rampage. It felt that these beasts were neither animals nor humans. He clenched his fist, his shoulders twitching. This village must pay the price in blood. Little sheep, thank you. You are thanking me? What are you thanking me for? Thank you for making me understand the meaning of my rebirth. Suddenly, the mountain lion leaped. It struck the mountain goat's neck with the speed of an arrow. Its sharp teeth sank into its flesh. Then it shook its head. It ripped a large piece of flesh from the goat's neck and swallowed it. Blood splattered everywhere in an instant. The man who was once prey, now he was the hunter again. He was a vengeful hunter, immersed in the thrill of the kill. He vowed, all the monsters wearing animal skins at the dinner table that day should be eradicated. The next morning, an antelope kept knocking on the goat's door, but there was no response. They had clearly agreed to go fishing together today. Did this kid get drunk last night? How could he possibly respond to you? Because the goat had become the mountain cat's prey. This was the first full meal the mountain cat had eaten in days. Indeed, animal meat is super delicious. From then on, the village would see a string of animal heads appearing in succession. It seemed deliberate. They would always be placed in the most prominent corners, as if someone had laid down a tactic for this village. So far, 8 animal heads have been found, and 2 are still missing. The killer's target is very clear. All of the animals that died are the animals of the privileged class. They speculate, the culprit must be someone from the working class. It could also be a human being kept as livestock or a pet. But then again, a lone human being wouldn't have the strength for that. Just then, the bear, who was gnawing on a human elbow, spoke up. He said it didn't matter who the culprit was, whether human or animal. As long as they found them, they'd kill them. Hunt down the bastard and tear him to pieces. Why else did they have teeth if not to do just that? Haha, I apologize for being presumptuous. Talking to you goats like this, it's like playing a piano to a person. At this moment, the deer leader pushed the door open. Seeing the wild boar's head placed on the table, he shed tears of sorrow. He then showcased his natural talent for public speaking. He ignited the passionate emotions of all the animals present, so much so that the animals were convinced that they were all descendants of noble gods. The murderer must die a horrible death, while the animals shouted their slogans. The stag leader also consolidated his position in spirit, but the strongest bear left. He felt he was different from these brainless animals. The Son of God? You actually believe it? We are all beasts wherever we go. For him, power and status are useless. He only believes in his sharp teeth and strong muscles, and delicious food. A faint scent of blood drifted out from a derelict house. His eyes lit up at the smell. For him, any flesh stained with blood would do, whether it was human or animal. He had only come across animal flesh once. He had been craving that taste ever since, even if it came from his own kind. But what he didn't expect was that this bloody smell was actually bait set by the bobcat. Suddenly, a knife was thrust into the bear's nose. Because the mountain lion had leaped from the roof, the mountain lion quickly realized that it could not cause any harm to it. The bear tried to catch the mountain lion, which it cleverly dodged. Meanwhile, a rope was looped around the bear's neck. The mountain lion grabbed the other end of the rope and jumped down from above, using inertia to strangle and lift the bear. But the bear's fighting ability is really not low. With one paw it broke the rope. At the same time it returned a blow with a claw. But the next second, it found that its 4 fingers had been cut off cleanly. The bear then saw that the attacker was a mountain cat. Although the bear has thick blood and great strength, but the mountain cat possesses extraordinary reaction ability. It is a gifted killing genius. Not only that, it discovered that the mountain cat had a strong killing intent. That was a strong determination for revenge. Chica, wait for me. Just a little more. Wait for me a little longer. They'll go see you soon. The next day, the animals found the bear's head in front of the bear's house. Just like the previous bodies, the body was gone. The deer leader remained silent. He quietly used a saw to cut open the bear's face. He took out the brain inside. The other animals asked the deer leader why he did this. The deer replied, because he didn't want to forget his dead companions. So he used their brains to decorate his room. As soon as he got home, the deer leader put the bear's brain in a glass jar filled with formalin. They were among the first to come to the village when it was built. The bear was the only one who knew the secret of the deer. The two of them often discussed who they really were, why the text was born. The camera pans up. We see the deer leader's wall, filled with brains soaking in liquid. He sniffed the bear's brain carefully. He licked its taste with his tongue. Suddenly he heard a clanging sound from above. A pig's head rolled into the house, tumbling and bumping. It was once a subordinate of the deer chieftain. The mountain cat had chopped off his head as a challenge to the deer. The mountain cat opened the door with a gun in his hand and entered the house. He said viciously, "Only you are left of those who attended the feast at that time. Just like what you did to me and my daughter, you too shall die a miserable death." Finishing his words, the mountain cat pressed the gun against the back of the deer's head. The trigger was pulled, blasting the deer's head to smithereens. The shattered head wobbled and rolled to the ground. The mountain cat fired another shot at the remaining half of the skull. He wanted to make absolutely sure the deer was dead. His revenge was complete. A relaxed smile spread across the mountain cat's face. He felt that his daughter in the afterlife would be proud of him. "Don't worry, Chica. Daddy's coming to you." Just as he was about to pull the trigger, he heard a familiar click behind him. The sound made his hair stand on end. My guess was right. Humans don't have that kind of arm strength. Their reaction time can't defeat a bear either. You now possess highly developed senses that humans can't match. You should feel happy about it. The mountain lion turned around and saw. The newcomer was none other than the leader of the deer. "What's going on?" That's just a doll I made. I often put it here. Go to the basement by yourself. I'm quite interested in the study of life. Curiosity makes one's potential limitless, you know. It seems you've recovered your memory. That's fantastic. The perfect combination of body and mind. What a surprise. Before this, how many sacrifices were made to pave the way? The deer leader wasn't surprised at all that mountain cat regained his memories. It seems he clearly knows the secret behind this. Mountain cat suddenly leaped up, intending to attack the deer leader. At the same time, the deer leader brought someone in. And that person was actually Mountain Cat's daughter, Chica. A pair of cross-dressed girls wandered into a village full of animals. The man stumbled upon a shocking discovery. Humans here were being treated like livestock. They were the primary source of meat for the animals. Some of the upper-class animals would hunt humans for sport. After uncovering the secret, the man desperately fled with his daughter, Chica. They were captured and brutally devoured by the animals. His daughter disappeared, leaving him heartbroken. Later, the man was reborn as a mountain lion. He, having recovered his memories, was continuously slaughtering the animals that had devoured him in the village. When he killed the deer leader, he found that he had only slain a fleshy substitute. Not only that, when the deer leader confronted the mountain cat, a young girl was brought in from outside. This girl was none other than Chica, the daughter of the mountain cat when it was still human. The mountain cat froze in place. A look of disbelief spread across its face. His heart was now lodged in his throat. Time seemed to have frozen at this moment. The mountain cat looked at the once familiar face and tears streamed from his eyes. The void in his heart was finally filled. "Leader dear, thank you. I am willing to work as a beast of burden for the rest of my life to repay you. Chen Ji, it's me. It's your dad. However, Just as the bobcat was about to embrace his daughter, she let out a meow. Isn't it cute? This child is my pride and joy. Pet, because when I caught you, I found that this child was too cute, so I kept her by my side. At first, she was very unruly and disobedient. Took a lot of effort to train her. What are you talking about? She's my daughter. Yes, I know. I never thought you would regain your memories after all these years. It's an incredible reunion. This situation will be quite helpful for my future research. The mountain lion wanted to awaken Chica's reason. It shouted for her to leave the deer. Unexpectedly, Chica hugged the deer's face and licked it. At that moment, a wave of sadness and helplessness immediately washed over the mountain lion's heart. He could scarcely imagine the amount of humiliation and abuse a human being must endure. To be brainwashed into this state. If only I had driven more carefully. If only I had been stronger. If only I had been able to protect you properly. I'm sorry, Chica. I'm not worthy of being a father. As long as you're still alive, I'm content. I don't ask for more. As long as you can live a simple, happy life as a human being. This time, I will absolutely never leave you alone again. The mountain lion's claws extend, muscles tense.